All right.
Sorry, guys. I'm working with a little bit of a new um, program here. But anyway, let's get kicked off, guys. This is After Hours Real Estate. Chris Beshek, broker associate with the Dripping Springs Home Team at Jackson Properties here, and my buddy on the other side, sitting in front of the sweet guitars, is Stephen Babcock with Benchmark Mortgage. And yeah, it's Monday at 5 o'clock, and Stephen just popped his beer. And then I popped mine. Steven, what are you drinking, buddy?
So I got to be honest with you here. This has become kind of a joy for me to try and do something new each time we do this.
Yeah.
And I was at the grocery store tonight, and I took one look at this oversized can and thought, "Oh yes, I'm doing this old school."
Please tell me it's clown shoes. Oh, Foster's.
And it's like a 24 ounce.
That's awesome.
That's right.
You,
They don't come in 6 packs. I just got one of
no.
them. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? But
that's incredible.
I'm doing it.
Oh,
How about
that's
you? What are you
beautiful.
drinking?
Man, I am. I'm keeping it local. Let me see if I can get this in. This is
Ah,
Last
last
Stand
and
Citra. So Last Stand is a local brewery that's about an hour, I mean, about a mile from the house. And I've been digging their stuff for about 5 years now. And this Citra is the first beer that my wife could actually drink and enjoy, and she loves it. So this got her started on beer, and it's an IPA, which is crazy because most people do not like IPAs, and especially women I've found don't really care for IPAs, but I'm a fan.
Hmm.
And
Not sure
so
if I found that either, but yeah, go ahead.
that that beautiful thing is Citra IPA, and the reason that I'm drinking this, guys, if y'all are in South Austin, so they've got the brewery out here in Dripping Springs, but they just opened a South Austin location on South Congress, over kind of by the old Austin Food Bank that I think now is Austin Beer Works maybe or something. Anyway, they're on South Congress, just north of Slaughter, and they've got a friggin' awesome facility down there. They're doing food all day. They're open 7 days a week, I believe. So if you've never had Last Stand Brewing, it may be my favorite just beer in Central Texas. Like just a brewery, all of their beers are good. So yeah, head over to Last Stand on South Congress if you dare. Oh, if you
I
dare,
love all
we're
the
getting
stuff
up
around
on
here.
it. It's about to be Halloween, so whatever.
That was a good attempt. That was a good attempt.
Yeah.
So
Uh,
speaking of I guess holidays,
a good attempt.
we've got all these awards coming up with like Christmas, right, and the end of year stuff with companies.
Yeah, right
Our
on.
company sent this hat out amongst other things. You know, the BM here, B for benchmark, right? BM, and then there's 20 and 20, right? 2020
Yeah,
strong.
yeah, yeah.
I get it. It's not a bad theme. However, I feel like they missed a huge comedic opportunity to, instead of saying like 2020 strong, that could be like 2020 hella sick,
Yeah.
or I mean literally anything besides
Anything other than
strong, right?
strong. Yeah, it's kind of
Who's looking at
outdone.
2020 thinking strong, right? Like
Yeah.
regardless of whether you are or not. And if you are, you just don't tell everybody else. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
everybody else is freaking out at this point, and yeah, of course, of course.
No, I love my
Yeah.
company. They're great. I wanted to poke a little fun.
No, that's
Um,
good. If y'all
so
don't know what we're doing here, heck, we've been talking for 5 minutes already, and we still haven't said what we're doing, man. Steve and I get together. First of all, we talk about beer because it's after hours real estate, and
and we
so
like beer.
now that we've done, and we like beer, and I'll probably end up getting into whiskeys and other stuff as we continue on with this sucker. Um, and Stephen is a, I always want to say, just easily, you're a lender.
It's easy.
Yeah, he's a
Yeah.
correspondence lender, and you don't know what that means. So he's a lender. He does mortgages for homes predominantly, and refis and stuff like that. I am a broker associate, which means that I am a glorified realtor with my broker's license, but I'm still under another broker, so I'm a broker associate. I'm a realtor, and we just sit around and we talk about things in real estate. Normally, things that are lending, um, in the nature of lending and things like that, but just what we're seeing in the market and stuff like that. So here we go. Cheers. Let's get this thing started, buddy.
Cheers, sir. Let's do it.
Now, and I love the fact that you're drinking out of a can too. That just makes
Oh
it
yeah.
even more. Yeah.
You're not going to get a 40 or some equivalent without. I mean, my God, I almost duct tape my hands to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm doing one of
Exactly. Yeah.
those. Would have felt right at
That's
least.
right. That's right. So, man, you sent me. Now I got to pull it up. You sent me a screenshot earlier of some random things that you want to talk about today, because so far we've talked about kind of interest rates and how your favorite thing in the world is for people to call you and ask you about what your interest rates are for the day.
It's
And
terrific when they do that. They
yeah,
sound
if
smart.
y'all don't get the reference
Good.
to that, go back and watch episode 3, which was last week. It was a good one. We've talked about saving money and should you put 20% down, should you put 30% down. We've talked about all kinds of stuff so far, but today we're just going to kind of go down some of the most common questions through Google.
Before we do that, by the way,
Oh, my bad.
I want everybody to know that Chris and one of their clients called me over the weekend just to ask me after the video came out, just to ask me. Now you remember. Yeah. Hey, what's the rate? What's your rate? And they were aggressive about it, and they did it as a joke. And I actually kind of went straight into like, oh, God, okay, here we go. Like, I just forgot that they were on the
did not catch the joke.
It was awesome. I got it fast, but it was good. It was very good. All right, man. No, I'm sorry.
The rate was too.
I thought that should be mentioned because it was hysterical.
Yeah, that's good. And if y'all don't know, Steven's got a pretty good sense of humor too. So, you always want to work with people that you get along with and like see things kind of from the same lens that you do. So, if you like some funny times and joking around a little bit, hey, Steven's a pretty good guy to work with. I'll say that from experience.
If you don't, though, don't call me. You won't like me at all, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, I just Googled the most common mortgage questions. I mean, we've been doing videos now for a while, not a while, but a little bit.
Yeah.
And I've been doing some research. Well, you've been doing it for a while. And I've been doing some research, and one of the things they say to do is to open an incognito tab so that it doesn't know your search history. And then you go to like a Google or a YouTube and you type in the first couple words, and then the whole list of suggestions of the top searched on things come up. So I just said most common mortgage, and then questions popped up. I'm like, that's a good one. So I clicked on that, and I got a bunch of them. And I happen to know that, there's a girl in our office who did a video on whether you need 20% to put down or not on TikTok, which I called you about earlier today. First time she's ever had a video go viral, and the first time anyone I know has had a video go viral. But she had over 700,000 views since like 3-4 days ago that she put it up. She had 21 loan applications, not leads, applications. People go to her webpage over the weekend and apply with her. I might have 30 in a month, right? I mean, the idea of doing that, and I've been doing this for, God, since 2012, right? So, Jesus, I mean, by the way, this girl only started a month ago, or a year ago.
If y'all start seeing Steven dancing on TikTok,
oh my God, I'm about to do it with my shirt off, and
just do it. I won't see him because I'm not on TikTok. I am not getting on TikTok. But if he starts doing it, y'all send it to me because we're going to put that stuff up and we're going to laugh. But anyway, yeah. So, do you want to start with that one, or do you want to start with one of these other ones?
Well, I don't care. I don't care. What I'd really like to do is answer questions, but I don't think anybody's answering questions or asking questions right now.
Yeah, so. I haven't seen any yet. And guys, as we're going through this, if there's something y'all want to know about mortgages or real estate or whatever, feel free to ask on the comments. We can see the comments regardless of where you are. But I'll just, which is, how do I qualify for a loan? Steven, how do I qualify for a loan?
You can. Nobody can.
Okay, easy enough. See y'all next week.
Yeah, no, that's the typical attitude though. Is, oh man, I'll never qualify. I got to pay off some credit card debts first. No, just don't even. I'd love to own a house, right? Who doesn't? But no, I got too many debts. I don't make enough money. Reality is most people do make enough money because you live in the city. So unless you're living with mom and dad paying nothing for rent, you're paying rent and you're achieving that. And by the way, it's pretty tough.
In Austin and Dripping Springs.
You get like a 2-bedroom and above around the Austin and surrounding areas. You can most likely already buy a home, whether you know it or not. Hey, I don't have enough money. Well, yeah, you probably do. In fact, I can get you some great down payment assistance programs. There's one of them that's specifically in Travis County. And that one gives you up to 6% down payment assistance. And right now, or at least last week when I locked one of my other clients in, it came with a 3.375% interest rate.
Man.
Yes.
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
Well,
dude, by the way, you only need a 640 credit score.
Yeah, that's real good.
It would be okay if you had like an 800 score, well,
There,
715 above.
that's better. I'm
But
sorry, the thing was scrolling a while ago. I like this better.
what now? What was scrolling?
At the bottom of the screen, how do I qualify for a loan?
Oh, that's funny. I got my camera in front of it, so it looks like I'm not like looking
You
over
can't
here
even
talking to
see.
you guys. You know what I
That's
mean?
all right. I do it, and that's the weirdest thing about this is I'm always looking at you because I'm talking to you, so it always looks to everybody else like I'm looking down. But
Right.
whatever, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
So
it's
anyway,
not natural, but whatever.
in answer to the question, how do you qualify for a loan? Basically, you more than likely can.
Yeah, no,
Um,
most people can. Yes.
yeah, and I mean, as long as you have at least somewhat of a decent credit history, and you have a job,
What
that's kind of key.
it really boils down to two things. Um, One is obviously credit score, right? In fact, one of the questions on here is, can I get a mortgage without a credit score? So we should talk about that next.
I
But
was going to type that in next.
for the mass majority of people out there, or at least lenders like me out there, we need you to have a credit score. Um, the other thing that we're very heavily dependent upon is called the debt to income ratio, right? This is something I ask every one of my clients, at least my first time home buyers, when I insist on doing videos with them, Zoom calls. And that's have you ever heard the general rule of thumb that you're not really supposed to spend more than like 1/3 of what you make on your rent?
Yeah.
Okay. So the exact same thing is true in lending, except it's 40%.
Right. Right.
Right. And that changes per loan, but if you really want a general outline of whether you qualify or not, don't buy more than 40% house, meaning the payment. Okay. So if you made $10,000 a month, and I mean, that's a lot, right? But if you did, and your payment was, $5,000 a month, you're at a 50% debt to income ratio, right? But I mean, let's use some math that's easy to understand, right?
Right.
So that's too high. Okay, for most people, that's way too high, unless you've got other compensating factors, and even then, after a while, they don't care about the factors. You just can't borrow anymore, right?
Right.
But what really matters most on how to qualify for a loan is having a credit score. Today, you want it to be over really a 620. There are other lenders that could go lower than that, but due to COVID, everything's tightened up quite a bit. So I would say if you have a 620 or above credit score, really 640, but if you have a 620 and above credit score, and you're paying rent here in the city, and it's less than 40% of your income, the rent payment, right? If you're making 10,000 and it's you're spending 1,400 a month, you're good to go.
Yep.
Right. Very much good to go. You could be doing 4,000 a month at that point, right? And buy a house that way. But the other thing is, a lot of people are surprised when homes come in cheaper than their rent.
I've got one now, and it's a 1 bed, 1 bath. It's a condo on the west side of Dripping Springs. It's amazing. 180,000. It's got a $200 HOA fee monthly.
Oof.
I mean, yeah, that's high, but where are you going to find rent on the west side of Austin?
No, I hear you.
For
What bothers me about that,
$1,600.
what bothers me about the HOAs though, is that that eats into that debt to income ratio that I mentioned.
Yeah, it's
So,
all encompassing.
so let's just say that client can only afford $180,000, right?
They're not
Period.
going to afford that condo.
Right. Well, but
Sorry, I jumped ahead of where you were
but
going.
hold on. But even there's even more. Like, let's just say they were going to buy a home without that HOA, or they were going to max out what they could qualify with that condo. Right.
Mhm.
We're literally talking for every $10,000 you throw in a mortgage, it affects your payment by about $50. So do it in reverse. You said $200 on the HOA, right? So that means $40,000 in buying power that client no longer has. So instead of $80,000 or $180,000 home, he or she could have a $220,000 home. And you make money when the home goes up in value and you sell it. So the more expensive home you can buy, theoretically, the more money it goes up, right?
1%
So
is more. Yeah.
if you get a condo, you are not getting the most value out of your investment.
That's right.
And it's usually seen as like the one you want to do first, and it's not. It's not really a good idea most of the
Hey, I'm trying to sell a condo, Stephen.
time.
You're killing me, brother.
I mean, it could be good. It could be good.
No, there are time and places for condos, and there's time and places for single family standalone homes. I mean,
I'm doing it. Sorry.
yeah, No, I was just going to say condos are great because you've got zero maintenance, you got on-site amenities, all of that
Right.
stuff's taken care of. It reduces your insurance payment if the condo complex has exterior insurance on the structure itself. So there's some reasons that it's not a bad idea. But
Oh
again,
yeah. I-
it does lower your buying power to your point. So
I'm doing a loan for a guy that's buying a condo right now, and I'm flat out jealous actually after saying all that. Right. Because it comes with a boat slip on Lake Travis.
yeah, I mean
Yes, please. Right.
mine
Yeah.
doesn't. I'm just saying.
Yeah. No, mine doesn't either.
But yeah, I
Anyway,
mean, there's definite definite good things about them, definite not so good things about them. But anyway,
how about you? How do I qualify for a house, Chris?
you call Steven.
That's a good question, right?
How
We're
do I
gonna answer.
qualify for a house? Call Steven and say, hey Steven, I want to buy a house.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
And
All
then
right.
you go right back into, okay, how much money do you make? What's your credit score? And what are your debts?
How about what's the difference between being pre-qualified and pre-approved?
Oh, look at you. Look at you.
Skipping ahead a
And
little bit.
I've got to, no, I've got to type. Um, so, yeah, I type so slowly.
It's all right.
So why don't you get us started?
No problem.
What is the
So
difference between qualification and approval?
reality is at most companies there's a technical difference, but then really no difference at all because they don't do the other one. Most, if not all, companies will do a pre-qualification, but a pre-approval takes a while.
Yes.
Um,
And it's taking longer now.
but right now, it's almost impossible to do.
Yeah.
And I only say that because rates are so low that the industry as a whole is underwater. We're swamped. We have too many deals going on. I mean, I wish that were my problem, but the industry is having that issue. Underwriters are working Saturdays and Sundays, not just Monday through Friday now. And ours have been since March. And I mean, they're actually doing a little bit before then. So it's kind of crazy out there right now. And if you're going to get a pre-qualification, that means you've come to me. I've checked out the credit score, the debt to income ratio we just discussed earlier, all these other things. And then I've run a program that says this person is approved. All right, 9 out of 10 times, that's all you need. And you don't run into issues later. 1 out of 10 times, however, you get somebody who had this bankruptcy that didn't show up on the credit report because it was misfiled, and all of a sudden it pops up halfway through, and then you're looked at like the bad lender that didn't see it, even though
Yeah.
there's no evidence of it, right? It's very frustrating. But long story short is that when you're pre-qualified, you get that 9 out of 10. When you're pre-approved, you've actually gone to the underwriter. The underwriter has assumed you're buying a home without an address, right? So everything they can do without typing in the address, they do. They look at the bank statements, they look into the history of the client, and then they give them an approval as though they were buying a house, right? Like they were already under contract. That really does two things. One, it eliminates any risk whatsoever.
Right.
But it can take up to 30 days sometimes because you're doing all the work you would, almost all the work you would, if you were just buying a regular
Buying a
house,
house.
right? So right now, no, they're just not going to do that for everybody. I mean, maybe if you're like a celebrity or something, but for the most part, no. I mean, they're too backed up. They have to work on weekends for months in a row. Like they're not going to. No, they're just not going to do that.
Right.
Who do I work with for underwriting?
So clarification on, and that's the reason I popped this up, Shelly. So each lender, like Benchmark, has a group that they use to do their underwriting. Stephen, you
We
can
have
talk a
in-house
little bit more about.
underwriters.
Well,
Yeah,
right. So y'all have in-house. Some have in-house. Some actually farm it out to a third
yeah.
party.
Some of the
Sorry.
bigger banks. I'm not going to name any names, but you go into one of the branches, and those branch guys, they get to read off the chart that they were given on all the stuff they need to collect from you, and then you give
Their
it to them,
interest
and
rates.
they ship it off to New Jersey and wait like 3 weeks for an answer.
Right. Yeah.
But
I
no,
forgot y'all had in-house. That's right. I
you
forgot.
know what's even funnier than that is my new neighbor, that literally right here neighbor, like no home in between us, right? Is an underwriter for another mortgage company.
Really?
Yeah, I'm like, well, I'm going to pick your brain, right? But yeah, I mean, come over and let me buy you a drink, right? No, but for the most part, man, I work with Corolla Turnip Seed. She's amazing, but she works within our company. She works from home because
Wait,
everybody works
wait, wait,
remotely now.
wait, 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 wait. What was her name?
Corolla Turnip Seed.
turnip seed?
Yes.
Are you making up a name?
Why does that sound fake?
It does. Is that really? Is it a guy
I
or
didn't
a
say
girl?
put down seed. I said turn up seed. It's the name of it. That's her name. It's a her. It's a she.
I
She's
feel
great. She's
horrible
wonderful.
for saying that, like, but it sounded like you were just making something up. Like if I'm going to make it up,
Got to be honest.
turnip seed.
With my
It's
last
the
name,
name of a car, and
well, yeah. I mean, I get it. I get it. Well,
I
she's
feel
one of the
terrible
best,
now.
though. So I know. You should.
And
You
I did
should.
this on live. That's bad. I hope she's not watching. She's
It's okay.
Corolla. I'm sorry.
Oh, buddy's nerfing. You're fine. You're fine. Anyways, yeah. So we've already done the difference between pre-qualified and approved, right?
Yep.
Pre-approved. We've let's see what else is left. How much home
Okay,
can you
here's-
afford?
Well, I mean, you were talking about. Let's do this instead. You were talking about the TikTok lady.
Yeah.
TikTok lady.
Yep.
So let's use hers. Do
Yeah, so
I
she-
need?
She did this. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Yeah. You're typing it in.
Yeah.
She did this TikTok video. By the way, she has like 7 TikTok videos, so she's not like a big TikTok star or whatever. And she only started like a week ago, and she's got 14,000 followers. And one of the videos went viral. She had 700,000 views, and she had all the apps over the weekend, like I said earlier. And the one that went viral had this. It was like, I can't quite remember how it was set up, but it was clear that this was a mortgage lender's video, and it said something like, "When people say I need 20%, I'm like," and had this little smiley face, like laughing, crying, like kind of thing, right? Like that's so funny, I'm crying.
Right.
And then she just kept pointing to different words, like there's down payment of down payment grants. You can move in and get money back. Move in for 0 down. And call me, right? And I mean, that was it. It was like a 15-second video. And she like blew up, but it's a big deal. Do I need 20% to put down on a house? Man, that was really old thinking.
I was going to say that's kind of, and we've covered that in some other videos now. That it's kind of, I don't want to say it's outdated because you know what. Because I would be saying that I'm outdated then, and I'm not that damn old. We put down more than 20% on our house because we still do want to get to a point where we don't have a house payment at some point in the future.
So look, that's called being a human, dude. That's called being a human, right? Nobody wants to owe 100,000 anything, right? Or times whatever. I mean, nobody wants to owe that. It doesn't feel right, but when the interest rates are, what did I just say? You can get 6% down payment assistance for a 3.375% interest rate.
Yeah.
Okay. 6% of the loan amount. Okay. When that's the loan you took, paying that off aggressively would be like having 3 or 4 credit cards. Each one is at 22%, but one of them is at 3%, and you decide you're going to pay that one off the fastest.
That's a good point.
Why does that make any sense? It doesn't at all.
Well, and you know what? It just occurred to me too. Sorry, I'm gonna cut you off.
You're fine.
I just remembered that. So when I bought my only new vehicle, the only vehicle I ever financed in my life in 1999, because I just got out of college, I thought it was gonna be a good idea to go buy a truck, right? Because that's what you do. But when I did that, my interest rate was 0.99. But now, vehicle interest rates aren't that low anymore, are they? I think
I wouldn't really know.
I think I heard somebody recently saying that theirs is like 5%.
Mine was 4, and I got my car in January. So
Okay, so there you go. So here's case in point. Why would you put 20% down to buy a new house if you're going to buy a car?
Well, yeah, but
when you could take the money and instead of spending 5% to buy or 4% to buy your vehicle, save the money on your house and use the rest of it for a car.
Or invest it.
Or invest it. I would personally invest it, but I'm just saying, if you have to have a car.
So I see people that want to aggressively pay on the mortgage. And by the way, I'm a worrier, okay? So I sit around and sit up all night and worry. And if I had a big check, I probably would be putting it into the house just because I'm a worrier and I want to pay it off, okay?
Right.
So I'm full of it. I don't even take my own advice. But at the end of the day, I think the average rate of return on the stock market is somewhere between 5 and 7% for a bad investor.
Last 30 or 40 years.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And I mean, plenty have done better than that. But you factor in all the people that have lost and gained as well. I think it's something somewhere around. It could be totally wrong, but I don't think it's much less than that.
No.
And when the interest rates are this low, I see some people that'll make double payments every month in their house. It's like, my Lord. I mean, I get it, but you're paying off a 3% credit card, right? You're paying off a 3% credit card. You're not investing that money in an 8% yield.
Right. And I'm sorry if I'm looking like I'm not paying attention. My wife is playing with my dog over here.
And here I am talking about why you shouldn't do it, but the question is, can you do it? Do I need 20% to buy a house? Right.
And I was going to say that's where we have to draw the delineation is, do I need 20% down to buy a home?
If you do not own a home, but you have just recently owned a home, then you could do 5% down with conventional or 3.5% down with FHA. If you are a first-time home buyer, which is defined with conventional as someone who has not owned a property for the last 3 years, okay, then you can get a conventional loan for 3%, or FHA again is 3.5%. Now, there's other loans out there, but that'll cover the mass majority of everybody, right? Okay, there it is, right? And I just told you those programs have a down payment assistance program in Travis County that does 6%. Got another one that does 6.5% in every county but Travis County. I've got another one that does up to 5%, but comes with the tax savings for 30 years. Those percentages were how much money you can get based on the loan amount. So you have a $100,000 loan and you took the 5% down payment assistance option. You just got $5,000 at closing to help you offset the down payment of the closing costs for both.
Right.
So you don't need 20%. Right now, you can move in for free and get a rate that's better than almost anyone in history has ever been exposed to, right?
That's the insane thing. You just said 6% for a 3 3/8.
I moved in January. I worked on my numbers, man. I was top of everything when I did it. I'm a lender. I got the best rates available.
Yeah.
My rate was 4%. It is 4%. I have a fixed 4% interest rate.
And on that, the Fed has said that they're not going to raise rates for 2 years?
Well, yeah.
I mean, we're up a little bit right now, but the Fed they're not going to artificially inflate rates.
I don't know how they stay low, even if here's the problem. We're at $6 trillion this year.
Yeah.
$6 trillion and change. Let's just say inflation keeps doing what I mentioned in the last video. Inflation is now higher. And by the way, everybody, inflation is higher than the going interest rate by about double. That can't literally ever happen. When it does, history shows that it'll flip.
Yep.
So it's not that just one of them flips. It's that they both inverse, right?
I was about to say, it's not just automatically inflation's going to go away.
Think of it like a
writing checks to everybody because of coronavirus.
Right. Think of it like a pendulum, right? It's just going to swing both ways. And rates have to go up. And if they don't go up, the Fed has to print more and inject more money into the system, which could actually threaten the whole system eventually. I mean, $6 trillion in a year is nothing to. It's not even the end of the year yet. It's nothing to laugh at. I mean,
roughly 25% of our debt.
I think when Bush was president, he left with like $4 trillion or something like that, and people were saying it was outrageous then. Yeah. And then Obama gets in there and he racked it up, and now Trump's in there and he's made them look like amateurs compared to how much he can spend. Mm-hmm. And I don't mean to. I promise I'm not getting political. These are the numbers, right? Yeah.
Look at the numbers.
I didn't tell you who I'm voting for, right? I just. And in fact, I really didn't tell you who I'm voting for. I promise I didn't. Things are happening right now. You can't print this much money and not have a reckoning. I'm sorry. It can't happen.
Eventually, it's got to come back around, but somehow,
right? Like all the restaurants. You shut down 50% of the restaurants in New York City, and no big deal. No, it's a huge deal.
People don't have money. That's it.
The worst part is everybody had, well, not everybody, but a lot of people who had savings are now out of savings,
blowing through it,
right? Or at least they're running low. So I don't know, man. It's going to be an interesting 2021 for sure.
It will. Let's roll on here. I'm going to drop a blind one on you. Blind one on you. Here you go. How do you know which loan option is right? Because you were saying FHA, maybe a VA. You got conventional with 5% or 10% or 20% down or 3% down, or how do you know?
So this is actually one of the things I can't stand in lending is that you go to a lender and the lender says, thanks so much for applying. Go to my webpage. I'll call you back. Okay. You go to the webpage, you apply, whatever. And okay, calls them back. And you say, okay, you're approved. I've sent you 2 options. You can go FHA or conventional, but the conventional is going to be a lower payment. So here you go. Or vice versa. FHA is going to be a lower one, but here you go. Here are the 2 options, right? And they just email them on and go find a house without explaining anything except here are your 2 options, right? It means nothing to the client. And right now, clients are looking at interest rates because that's what they've been trained to do, right? All I care about is the rate, right? I'm not saying that rate is not important, but almost every person that I've worked with this year with the down payment assistance programs, I've shown them, I've done all the numbers, and right now you can get an FHA loan for like a 2.875% down payment assistance, which is still just stupid low, and the conventional is like a 3.125. So any uneducated person who has just watched commercials, loan commercials or whatnot, and thinks whatever it is, right? Yeah, and thinks that rate is the most important. Well, they go ahead and they go for the 2.875. Obviously, 2 point anything is better than 3 point anything, right?
That's right.
And the reality is that most people, or at least if you've got like a 720 credit score or above, would end up paying like $120, $100 less in mortgage insurance every month with the higher interest rate conventional than they would with the lower interest rate FHA, which would actually mean that if you took the lower FHA rate, your payment would be like $60 higher than if you took the higher conventional rate. So tell me, did you want the best rate or did you want the best payment? Right?
And lowest payment
So what I would ask is, tell me why I don't want fill in the blank. So there's 5 kinds of loans, besides like Uncle Vinny or whatever, right? There's just 5 kinds of loans. One of them is a jumbo loan, and right now that's defined as anybody who's going to borrow more than $510,400. Just think of it as $500,000. Then you got VA, right? Well, hey, if you're a veteran, then you get 0% down. It's actually the best loan there is today, including the appraisal and everything else. It's been turned around in the last few years. There is no better loan. There is no smoother transaction than a VA loan today.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you've got USDA. I ask this to all my clients when I do these videos. Chris, what do you think of? And I always give everybody permission to be obnoxious. What do you think of when I say USDA? What's the first thing that pops into your mind?
A pig.
Pig, yeah. I think of cows and meat, right? Like steaks, farms.
Right.
And that's not the definition of a USDA loan, but if that's where your mind is, all those properties out there could most likely qualify for USDA.
Right.
It's an urban kind of thing. It's not like in the middle of the city. Rural kind of thing.
Not urban. Yeah, it's
sorry,
rural outside of Austin.
There are some outliers to that, right? There's some cities where like a sliver has a USDA sectioned area, but for the most part, that's not what it's designed for. It's designed for get out of the city kind of thing.
Right. And in Central Texas, just so people know, kind of your smaller outlying communities. Kyle View to Dripping Springs, Bastrop, Manor, Elgin, Hutto, Georgetown, Liberty Hill, Burnett. I'm trying to get all of them around. They all have USDA availability. That's the only reason that I'm saying that. There's availability for USDA loans in those areas. In Austin, like Steven said, no.
And USDA is zero down just like VA.
Correct.
Yeah, it comes with a bunch of extra fees and things, so it's not exactly zero down. I mean, it is, but there's other stuff to pay for.
Program.
It's not a bad program. It's great.
There's also income limits on it too.
I was going to say it's also much harder to qualify for. That 40% doesn't apply on USDA. It's 30% on USDA.
Yeah, the DTI is a lot lower.
Yeah. Now, if you're not buying outside of a major city or surrounding areas, and you're not buying a $500,000 home, and you're not a veteran, which is most people. Okay.
Right. Yeah,
most people,
the majority of the population, yes.
Then you are either getting an FHA or a conventional mortgage.
Right.
Those are the other 2 out of 5. Okay. In that case, how do you know which loan option is right for you? That lender that I don't like, that is most typical lenders, has actually done the work for you. They've sent you FHA, they've sent you conventional, and they've shown you the payments. It's just up to you, moron, to know what he's talking about, right? Right. So, which just drives me crazy because it's like, all right, let's have a conversation first. Let me explain what I just did. Let me show you why, that when you go online and you look at the rates and you see the FHA rates as lower, why I'm not putting you in that. And it's because of this mortgage insurance number, and that's based on your credit score and not with FHA. With FHA, it's set in stone.
That's right.
With conventional, it's based on your credit score. So you can really do some damage there if you don't explain it. So yeah, I would say listen to your lender, and if you don't get a good vibe, then find another one.
Yes, without a doubt. Hey, and it kind of dovetails off of that a little bit, or veers off of that. I don't know the right term.
I like both.
And I talk about Dripping Springs a lot. Obviously, I'm Dripping Springs home team. I do most of my stuff out here, and so I really get zeroed in on what my clients are asking. So when I get somebody to go get pre-approved, why is it? And I think I know the answer, but why is it that they'll go to a lender and the lender gives them a cap on what they can spend, as opposed to a cap on a monthly budget?
Because lenders get paid based on the loan amount.
Well, so that I guess kind of brings me to my point is, again, let's talk about Dripping Springs, where well, we can talk about anywhere. Condos, you may have a $400 a month HOA fee with condos. You could have a tax rate that fluctuates anywhere from 1.7 to 3.1 around Dripping Springs. You could have.
I'm on a 3.2 out here in Lago.
Are you really?
Oh yeah, I was thrilled when I found that one out. Yeah.
Dude, you need a better realtor. Sorry, my bad. I know it was your wife.
I didn't use
no,
your
his
help
wife's a
for this
realtor.
one.
His
So,
wife's a
yeah.
realtor. Anyway, that's why it's funny. don't let her.
Chris, you're on a roll tonight, man. You're doing well.
Anyway, my question sticks. So if you tell somebody, hey, you're good up to $600,000, but they want to buy $600,000 in 3.2 tax rate, and they can't do that, they can only buy 520.
Yeah. So
I mean,
that's okay. So I'll sit people down and I'll explain though the debt to income ratio like I did earlier. That stops me once you get to 40% of the payment of the house versus your income, right? So in other words, 40% of what you make, you're spending on the house. I can't help you anymore. We can't go any higher. And that tax rate can drastically affect where that 40% is, right? If you're at a 1.7% tax rate and you've hit 40%, when I take you to the 3.2, you're at like 48% in some cases.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
not even close. So typically what I'll do is I'll use 2.3%, and then I'll get to about a 30. I'm sorry. I'll use a tax rate of 2.3%. And then I'll do, gosh, Chris, I've done too many numbers in my head. I'll do a tax rate of 2.3%. And then instead of borrowing as much as I possibly can for the person, I'll explain, look, I just told you could borrow 40%, but I have you at 37 or 38%. Because if the tax rate changes, this is what happens to your payment. Let me show this to you, right? And then I'll explain it's really important that you pay attention to the tax rate in the city because it's not in other areas of the country, right? In many other areas of the country, a lot of them are a lot less, but they don't have income tax either. So,
yeah, exactly.
By the way, another reason to not be a renter, because everybody's paying income tax. Anyway, I'm sorry. Keep going.
No, you're good. I was just going to say, and the other thing, and I never really knew this until I got into real estate, but even around the state of Texas, there's parts of Houston that are 3.5, 3.6%.
Oh, God, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, and Dallas as well. I had a client from Dallas that I was like, okay, now I need to let you know that some of these neighborhoods, Belterra, Headwaters, Calaterra, they're 3%. Your money's not going to go as far, and they're going. The tax rate's 3%. Yes, man, mine was 3.5 in Allen. What? So
that's so high.
Well, and the tough thing is now is you lost some of your tax benefit of it. I mean, you can only write off up to 10 grand. Guys, keep in mind that was part of the tax cuts. Is that a little bit of that benefit that you got for owning an expensive house kind of went out the window because I mean we all know that anybody that pays more than $10,000 in income taxes is wealthy. Or not income taxes, sorry, in property taxes.
Yeah.
Anybody that does that is wealthy. So
thing is that
keep that in mind.
The standard deduction is 25 now, right? So the almost no one can use their mortgage interest statement unless you're an investor and you have multiple houses, you can add them together, right? Except if you get an MCC, a mortgage credit certificate.
Oh yeah, you talked about those.
Right now, that's only available to first-time home buyers. That one is the only program I've ever talked about that's only available to first-time home buyers.
Yeah.
All of them are available to everybody, okay, except for that one. And that one, though, will take whatever you paid in interest at the end of the year, right? You get that mortgage interest statement in the mail. And whatever that number is, it takes 20% of it, and then it pays it to you as a direct refund.
Yeah.
It's not a reduction of your income so that you hopefully you're in a different tax bracket. It's a flat-out check.
Yeah.
And it's based upon your interest rate and your loan amount. And by the way, they'll pay it to you. If you get a 30-year loan, they'll pay it to you for 30 years, as long as you stay in the house, you don't leave.
Yeah.
So that one's
That's
huge.
pretty
But but hey, then that goes away, and then you lose the benefit, right? So then you're back with everybody else. But I mean, if you're a first-time home buyer, you can't afford not to do that one.
Are you getting paged?
I'm getting paged by my 4-year-old.
That's awesome.
Do you want to say hi to everybody on Facebook Live? Yeah.
Yeah.
Come here. Just sit on my lap.
Dad.
Oh, I think it might be time for us to wrap up.
Yeah.
What do you think?
What's up, buddy? How are you?
You say hi? You see in there?
Hi.
Oh, don't touch. Don't touch.
Did Dad get you?
Do that.
Did Dad get you out of the street earlier?
Okay, here
My
we go.
name.
What'd you say?
I asked if Dad got you out of the street earlier.
You know what? Yeah, I did. And yeah, we were on the phone earlier, weren't we? And he hasn't had a nap today, so I don't think he's even hearing what you're saying right now.
Oh,
to be
that's
honest.
cool. That's cool.
It's wonderful. It's great. Can't wait for
Yeah.
tonight. It's gonna be good. No, I love him. He's a good kid.
Let's use that as the excuse to jump off here.
That's a good excuse. All right, man.
Yep, guys. Again,
times.
if you've got any more questions for Stephen or I, obviously, hit us up. Stephen's number is 512-497-3742. Benchmark Mortgage there, and I am 512-736-1703. Also, you can friend him on Facebook. Go find Benchmark Mortgage. Stephen, wait, what is your personal page?
You know, it's
Babcock?
Stephen Babcock. Just search Stephen Babcock
Yeah.
Benchmark Mortgage on Google.
And
You'll
you can
find-
message
you'll find
him
me.
on Facebook as well. So, all right, guys, that is it for the day.
Thank you, Chris.
After Hours Real Estate, Stephen. I
Bye-bye,
appreciate
Whit.
it.
Bye bye.
Later, Whit. We'll see you, buddy.